everyone. For this What I Would Have Done Thursday, I thought it would be interesting to discuss a film that I think has been given a lot of criticism over the years, and the Nostalgia Critic has pointed this one out in particular. And I do realize his complaints and his anger towards this film. I guess it doesn't upset me as much. Because, again, I know it's just a movie, but at the same time, I do feel like that we could have gotten a better product film that represented more of the character that the film is titled, and as you can see by the title, this is a video discussing what I would have done with the film Patch Adams. Now, the thing that I think disturbed the critic the most was the fact that it detoured a lot from what really happened in regards to Patch Adams' life and also his work and what he's accomplished. And I think that it could have been set up in sort of a fictional sense without being insulting to his abilities. And I think this film did a really poor job in trying to show his talents or maybe his growth even. So I think these things that I'm going to mention, if they would have been focused on a bit more, I think we could have gotten a better product at the end of the day. The problem with this film, a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's a really black and white contrast. We have the very serious, grumpy, grouchy, cold Doctor Academy types. And then we have the Patch Adams types who are really upbeat and full of energy and maybe don't take things seriously when they should be at times. And again, you really do see the flaws with both sides, really. But the problem is these sides are too extreme. And it doesn't give you a good understanding of the emotional aspects that Patch Adams was trying to integrate, and the importance of rationality and thinking beyond just the emotional connections with the patient. In case you don't know what Patch Adams is about, it's basically about a quasi-doctor who uses different techniques in regards to medicine. And these techniques are based more within laughter and trying to generate emotions and connections with the patients, as opposed to doing the work to just get them healthy. Because it's sort of a science, I guess, that, the more emotionally in tune you are with the patient, the more likely the patient is going to respond, and maybe the potential of them getting better might be relatively higher. Because again, there's probably all of this brain science behind this, but again, that's sort of, I think, the theories that really, I guess, sort of impact this setup when it comes to science, at least the way the film tries to present it. So there needed to be a dimension to both sides. The film paints Robin Williams as everything he does who is Patch Adams in this film. They portray the fact that everything he does in this film is right and has sort of some justification, and that everything that the medical doctors do or say is wrong and has no value. This is the biggest problem with the movie, I think. There should be dimensions. There should be these shades of gray area when it comes to both sides. And you see them sort of there, at least more, I think, with Robin Williams' side with him playing Patch Adams, but it's not really fully realized or captured properly. And as a result, we get these two really phoned-in sides where one side is really annoying and obnoxious and one side is just like got nothing going on up there, it seems like. Well, I mean, not up really in the brain, but as far as the face, like no emotion or depth. So that's what it needed to do. It needed to change these two aspects and see the positives as well as the negative sides of both ends of the spectrum of the fact that if you are too serious, then it lacks any ability to connect with the people that you're working with on an emotional level. And then at the same time, if you put too much emotion into your work, then you lose the side of rationality and the importance of accomplishing the various tasks that need to be accomplished in order to cure the patient. So there are these two extremes, and I think had the movie balanced these out a bit, we would have gotten a stronger film. What I think would have been interesting is it seems like everything that ends up resulting in the film is everybody learns Patch's way. And I don't think that that's really a good message to send. I think both sides can learn from each other, and I think that I think would have actually made the movie a lot more intelligent, a lot more funnier, and a lot more engaging. And it would have taken these two sides and you start seeing them working together as opposed to being separate and then just having one person sort of dominate and be really the moral framework of the story. Have the two sides not compete, but rather work together in order to fulfill the needs of what ultimately is required to sort of be a doctor and be someone who takes care of people. So that, I think, would have lended itself a lot more dimension. And we could start off with Patch Adams. He's just kind of going through life cruising, and then once he has this sort of inspiration to help people, maybe he learned something from other people, because, I mean, again, he did go to school, and usually when you are in this kind of environment, you usually learn from other people, and it's not always everything that, you say is right. And this movie treats it like everything that Patch Adams did, he was right always, all along. He never really needed to learn anything. All the lessons were already learned because of his personality. But no, it's you do learn, and you learn how to take your own intelligence that you've gained from that experience and you apply it. It's not that you go to school and then you don't and that you come out of it thinking that you're the greatest. You come out learning from other people and learning from teachers and taking tests and things like that. There are these things that you learn and then incorporate once you go out and do your work in a practical sense when you actually do become a doctor, or whatever it is. In this case, it's a doctor. So had they focused maybe on a sort of growth story of knowledge growth with Patch Adams, he just starts off as a complete goof nut in the beginning, but then he learns the importance of using rationality and incorporating his emotional understanding of people together in order to, connect with people. That would have been, I think, a lot more practical. It would have probably been a lot more truer to probably the Patch Adams story, because again, we can't really portray an actual person really in the same capacity as we can in a movie, because again, all we get is just a snippet of maybe realism. I mean, we're not going to be able to put every little detail of his life into a film, but we can bring in the ideas that he was trying to incorporate. And I think the problem was these ideas weren't incorporated in a very intelligent way. There is a love interest in particular that the Nostalgia Critic mentions that wasn't a love interest in real life with Patch Adams, and I guess the sort of insulting fact of the film is that it has this character die, although she was technically supposed to be a man in real life and wasn't romantically involved with Patch Adams, and it was a man, not a woman, and there wasn't any romantic relationship. So I understand that, changing the relationship around and not being sort of true to what actually happened, I think is very flawed, and I understand if maybe the film put the death of this person maybe at a different time, because a movie can't really incorporate things in real life in the same way that it can in a film. But I think had they stayed true to not only who Patch Adams was, but who his friend was, who I guess was a very important part of his life, had they remained true to that, we would have had, I think, a lot stronger film, and a lot stronger connections. So yeah, I think that was a really big issue that people were angry about, the fact that they changed, the whole scenario around in regards to the person that was actually involved in Patch Adams' life, and putting somebody else as a replacement in the film, and then making it fairly underdeveloped, and do it for the sake of ploy, I guess you could say. And I do understand these problems, but I think it really all does come back to the fact that this film did not know how to juggle the emotions and reasonings behind being a doctor. It didn't take itself, I think, too seriously. I think it was a little bit too goofy, and as a result, I don't think we get a good representation of the real person, Patch Adams' real work, and I think that's really the big underlying issue with this movie. And I think had that big aspect been changed, and had they focused on trying to be maybe a little bit more serious, but then still having little bits of comedy in there, we would have had something, I think, a lot more funnier and a lot more smarter. But I guess that's, I think, all that I can really say in regards to this film. And again, I do understand that aspect of, them changing that one character around to be female and a romantic interest. I do understand people's frustration for that. I think it could have been fine had the person maybe not even been in the film, or if the person was in the film and played a significant role, and maybe he does tragically die, but it's something that that Patch takes very seriously to his heart, and then at the same time, appreciates the fact that maybe he knew this person, or had they put something in like that, then I think that would have been fine. I just think that as a whole, this film doesn't execute what it's trying to execute all that well. And as a result, we sort of have a jumbled mess of just goofy comedy, and really nothing else, and just kind of really awkward moments, and just a lot of weirdness too, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense or context. So that's all I think I can really say in regards to this film. But if there are any questions, comments, concerns, I'd be more than happy to answer them. I really do not know the real person, Patch Adams' work. I haven't really explored it all too much, but it does seem interesting. And I think it could have made for an interesting, commentary in regards to making a film about it. However, the film went in a completely different direction than what it probably should have, and the reasons that I've explained are what I would have done to maybe make it something more worth watching, and might actually get people to know more about Patch Adams and the real person and what he does. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day, week, month, and year, and I think that's really all I can say. But take care.